Let's go ahead and talk about the power rule now. So for such a simple rule, it actually has a pretty complicated explanation, but it's mainly because we need to do it in three separate parts. So we need to consider the case where x, the base, is positive, the case where it's negative, and the case where it's equal to 0. So in this video, we're only going to talk about the positive case, and the other two cases will be covered in the next videos. So here, if x is greater than 0, if the base is positive, then r, the exponent, can really be any real number at all. It could be positive, could be negative, could be 0. And what we're going to do is start by saying x to the r equals e to the natural log of x to the r. Now this might be something that you've seen before, but basically what's happening here is, remember that raising e to something and taking natural log of something are essentially inverse operations. So if we go from the right side to the left side, well, we can do that because the e and the natural log are going to cancel each other out. Well, sometimes it's useful to go in the other direction. So start with the thing and say that that's the same thing as e to the natural log of that thing. Then next, we could use properties of logs to pull out this r and the exponent. So then we have e to the r times natural log of x. So because x to the r equals this, then the derivative of x to the r equals the derivative of e to the r natural log of x. And we can just use the exponential rule for this. So we know that if we take the derivative of e to something, then we're just going to end up with e to that thing multiplied by the derivative of that thing. So that comes from the chain rule. Now, r is just a constant, so we can just pull it out of the derivative, we know that. And the derivative of natural log is 1 over x. So since e to the r natural log of x is x to the r, we know that from earlier, then what we have here is x to the r times 1 over x. Well, r is just a constant, so it just stays over here. And then x to the r times 1 over x, that's essentially x to the r divided by x, which means that's just x to the r minus 1. So remember, if you have the same base, and you divide like this, x to the r divided by x to the first, you subtract the exponents. So that's why we have x to the r minus 1 here. And that concludes the case where x is positive.